anyone hear me? Tobechukwu Ijaya. Can anyone hear me, see me? Like, the rain had to fall today of all this, God I beg. Can anyone hear or see me? Like, I don't know what's going on. Am I visible? See me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Can't see me. Serious. Okay. I might just have to go ahead without because my camera is on, but it's blank. It's blank. Well, yeah. As long as you can hear me, that's fine. I'll just turn off the video. I can't stress myself this one. Kule is here already, right? Our social media people, let's. Okay, so should we begin or should we still wait a bit? Okay, people are joining. Okay, we'll start in the next 1 minute. This is 12:14. So my apologies to everyone who joined in. We had a bit of technical issues. That's why we're starting late. So let's just wait 1 more minute for other people to join. For some reason, my camera is not working. But yeah, I guess it's the rain, whatever, but it is what it is. So we'll begin shortly. We're here. Thank you, everyone who's here. Okay, so it's 12:15. Officially starting. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Aminat Sonny Kamal. It's unfortunate that you can't see me, and I actually got dressed just for this event. So I'm sorry. I am the founder of AskWords.ng. We are a writing and storytelling brand that helps entrepreneurs, founders, coaches, and creatives bring their ideas to life through powerful messaging, content, and visibility strategies that work. At AskWords.ng, we believe that your words should work just as hard as you do, and that's why today's session is important. This is not going to be one of those webinars where we're just going to try to sell you stuff. I mean, it's part of the whole package. We have to make money, but we're not just going to bombard you with selling. You're going to get value. You're going to get a whole lot of value from this webinar. So welcome officially once again to our webinar, How to Grow Your Business with Inbound Marketing. Now, whether you're a small business owner, a creative, or a founder looking to build stronger, more sustainable marketing systems, then you're definitely in the right place. Now, let me introduce to you our instructor for today, the one and only Adekunle Ijaya. So Adekunle is a strategic marketing and business operations leader with deep experience in brand storytelling, content marketing, and scalable inbound systems. He's worked across industries like edtech, fintech, and digital transformation using his signature AEC framework, attract, engage, and convert to help businesses turn marketing into a growth machine. You're going to learn a lot from him today, a whole lot. You're going to learn practical, actionable strategies to not just grow your business, but to do so in a way that's scalable, like I said, and sustainable. That's how the session is going to go. The session will run for about 2 hours. Every 20 minutes, we'll run a short poll to check in with you and, spark conversation and discussion. There's also a Q&A tab available to you throughout the session. Now, please feel free to drop your questions there as they come up. You don't have to wait until the poll. Even if it's at the beginning, just put your questions there. I will be monitoring the Q&A closely, and we'll bring your questions to Adekunle's attention so we can address them during the session or at the end. Now, we want this to be interactive and valuable, so don't hold back. If you have a question, ask it. If a poll comes up, participate. This session is for you. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. Ijaya, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I guess I should just go right ahead to share my screen. So if you could give me a minute, I want to set it to, the presenter slide. So if you could just confirm, everybody else that is here, please confirm if you can hear me, or if I have to increase the volume of my voice. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. So that means I'll just assume that everybody else too can hear me. So now I'm sharing my screen. Please give it a minute to load. Just want to confirm if it is loading. Can you see it now?
I can't see your screen yet.
Okay.
I can't see your screen.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, I can see your screen now. It's up.
I can see it now.
Awesome. Just to confirm, everybody else, you can see my screen. Toby, can you see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Awesome.
For our attendees, you can just react with an emoji if you can see his screen.
All right. So once again, good morning. Welcome everyone. My name is Adekunle. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. It's a bit rainy over here, and I know some of you have joined from out of town. So I hope the rain, if it is raining at your side, isn't too much. It's a pleasure to have everyone here, and I will be your guide today, where we'll be turning marketing speak into real business growth. This is in theory, like Aminat had pointed out. It's going to be tactical, it's battle-tested blueprints, and I can vouch for it because I have used it for quite a few businesses that I have consulted for, both small, medium enterprises, and I've used it for standing corporations, right? In this instance, I will be referencing some of those companies that I've worked for. Some of them I would hide their name, specifically BC's Yam Flour business, and then tutor.ng. These are actual businesses that are functioning and quite successful within their niche, of course. But however, they would rather have their names kept out of this. So we're going to use a moniker to keep their name running throughout this presentation. we're talking about inbound marketing. I believe it's a silent growth operator in your business. And the whole idea is you want to use content to turn customers into paying customers, not just people that will just watch our whatever we are creating, whatever we are viewing, and then they just smile and they move on, right? Inbound marketing isn't about buzzwords. It is about building systems that bring you clients and convert them while you rest or while you are doing other things, right? So without further ado, let's dive right into it. So the first slide I will be talking on is competitive edge. So now let's get something very clear. Execution is everything. In fact, there was an organization that I was working in, and one of their key values was execution. Execution is what separates Nike from Amiri. So now let's be clear. Nike is a global brand, but so is Amiri. Many of us who use this Amiri brand might be familiar with it and think it's even homegrown here in Nigeria. But you need to understand, it isn't just about the financial capacity or the logistics lines that have been created. It is about execution. They are taking practical knowledge and then they are comparing it or pairing it with that discipline to execute. And that is what separates them from everybody else. And so I would reiterate it again. The gap between you and your competitors isn't budget. It is applied knowledge and the discipline to execute, right? And so all throughout this conversation, we will be talking about how this competitive edge, this execution, mindset of execution is what takes or what took BC's pounded yam mix from where it was all the way to where it currently is now. Now she is not just competing on price. No, she is competing on a separate, different level. She is winning because she is pushing out packaged tradition with a modern health appeal. And for the other brand that we're going to be talking about, Tutor.ng, this brand offers a service. And unlike BC, who offers a product, this brand offers a service. And for this brand, they are helping you to build that confidence in math. Their target audience is obviously kids. Kids are trying to build that knowledge, that understanding. And they are not positioning your child or their prospective target audience's child as a dull child or a child that has the lacks the capacity to understand. They are positioning it in such a way that they are saying your child can grow confidence in math. So the reason why I'm picking these two people, or I will be referencing them all throughout our presentation, is many of us who have joined are either marketers or business owners. You're either a small, medium, or in a unique case, I can see some of us here are large enterprise business owners. And I want you to be able to relate to it. I want you to be able to touch base with it. So if your own is products, you can align with BC. And if your own is services, you can align with Tutor.ng, right? So let's go right into the agenda for today. Right off the top, our agenda is talking from the space of right off the top, our agenda is going to be touching base with 7 points. 7 points, very simple, but not 7 slides. I want us to be very, very here or present, right? So I will walk you through this 7 points. It's about 15 slides altogether. I'll walk you through what is wrong with the traditional inbound marketing model. Traditional inbound marketing model is attraction, engagement, and delight, right? And I will show you what actually works. I will break down the AEC framework. That is my framework that I have created. And I will show you how we add that extra step, that is optimization, that can help you move you from people who are just consuming your content to people who are buying what you are selling, be it a product or a service. I will leverage real life examples and I will walk you through, so there will be no fluff all throughout this engagement, right? So whether you run a small team, you are a solo hustler, right? Or you are, for some interesting reason, a marketer from a big brand, whichever which way, by the end of this engagement, by the end of this experience, you should be able to have at least 80% of what you need to immediately begin execution. And I'm saying 80 because the 20% will be left to either the decision maker or the relevant stakeholder who will move you from we are ready to start to we are starting. Right? There will also be time for a Q&A session as our amiable host, Ms. Aminata pointed out, and we will be able to, hopefully, if there is enough time, we'll be able to walk through a real life example of one of us here on this call who has a problem related to inbound marketing, of course, and then we can see if we can find a solution for it. So now right into it. Why should you listen to me? To reintroduce myself, my name is Adekunle Jaya, and I have quite literally started out my career from the space of simply writing all the way to leading businesses or organizations, bigger brands, from point 0 all the way to point 100 in terms of execution and conversion for their prospective leads. I have worked in the space of small and medium enterprises, and I have helped these small and medium enterprises to achieve goals that ideally they would have been unable to achieve. So moving from a content creator mindset all the way to a business driver, or should I say business operations influencer, has helped me to develop a marketing philosophy. And that philosophy is marketing isn't just about campaigns. It is about engineering ecosystems around growth scaling, right? So when we are talking here, or as we are talking here, I want you to take some of the things, or if not some, most of the things that I'm pointing out here as not canon, but something that can quite literally guide you in the direction of where you need to be, right? I have not brought any fancy or imaginary ideas in this slides. Everything I have brought here is battle tested, it is real, and can move you from point 0 to 100. So now let's get right into it. Inbound marketing. Now, all throughout this slide, I'm going to build up enough context for you to be able to understand how the AEC model works, and I will hopefully be able to share an actual sprint and scale protocol that would help you to begin execution now. But before I can hand over these key metrics, these key protocols to you, first you need to understand how things were done before and how things how things can be done better now, right? So now let's talk about inbound marketing. The traditional inbound marketing takes you from attraction all the way to delight. So we have attraction, engagement, and delight, which is very poetic. It's very nice. The ideal marketer will sell this to you. They would market this to you, and you most likely buy into it. But if you want to be an operation needle mover, if you want to be someone who can clearly draw a line from their marketing efforts right down to actual business impact, most preferably in terms of revenue, you need to review that traditional approach to inbound marketing. And that is where that review comes in. You can delight somebody, right, with whatever you are doing in terms of marketing. But that person, as long as that person never converts, that person has never truly been delighted. And in this 2025, delight is a luxury, not a strategy. So what do we do instead? This is where we introduce conversion to the core of our inbound activities. We make inbound align with our real business outcomes in terms of sales, revenue, and customer acquisition. So now this is how the AEC framework works. We create processes or approach that would help us to attract our target audience with a story, with optimizing to be seen. So you can see on the screen here, you want to draw potential customers. So you either do that with a good story, that's in terms of content and platforms that you're leveraging, or in terms of optimizing for visibility, that is your search engine optimization or just general platform optimization for full visibility, right? And then we move on to engagement, where we want to engage our prospective clients who are amongst our audience with valuable experience. I'm talking experience either drawn from real life users of the product or our services, or experience that we are commenting that we can optimize or make better with the services or the products that we offer. And then, of course, eventually move them from this engagement to conversion, where we are putting intentional call to actions. We're guiding them down the traditional funnel into the revised flywheel, which I will be talking about in a few minutes, right? And then getting them to not just buy, but getting them to be happy as they are buying. And then finally, we optimize by drawing data from everything that we have done so far, and then improving the approach right from A all the way to C again. So we are shifting from what separates random content creators, random business owners, random marketers for said business owners, and becoming growth marketers. So in this deck, I will show you how to execute every part profitably. Right, so let's move right into that. Micro segments. This is where we are now going to break down how inbound marketing works. So now, before we go deeper, I want to give you an actual flywheel motion of how inbound marketing works. That is what you are seeing on the screen now. So right all the way from audience to content to search engine to traffic to leads to nurture and then relationship. All of this are the steps within the flywheel that will guide us right from the top all the way to the bottom of the funnel. Now, if you notice, we can see that I'm talking about flywheel. If you notice, we can see that I'm talking about flywheel. And the reason why I'm talking about flywheel as opposed to the traditional funnel is that the traditional funnel is a linear motion. It takes you from top to bottom. There is no room to grow. There is no room to pull in more. And then there is no room to actually reiterate and lock in these customers for lifetime value. And that is one of the core problems with the traditional way of inbound marketing. And that is why we are talking about a flywheel in this instance. This flywheel is cyclical. This flywheel will ensure people coming back for more, right? This flywheel is constant. So each phase feeds into the next, and it continues to cycle back from point 1 to point 7 and starting all over again. Now let's break each point down granularly. Audience, you want to identify who you are talking to. In this case, for BC, for instance, this is one of the businesses that I said I'll be referencing. For BC and a yam flour business, she wants to figure out what their pain point is. Figuring out what their pain point is how she can be able to understand who is hurting, what they specifically need, and how our product can solve that. So for BC, she figured out that it is working Nigerians who want to eat well, but they don't have 3 hours plus to cook. That is the beginning of understanding the kind of contents that she can create, the kind of packaging that our product will have, how the product will work for our target audience, right? And this also feeds into the kind of contents that she's creating. And that moves us to the next step in the flywheel, content. You want to solve that pain. For tutor.ng now, they are publishing lessons to reduce that math anxiety. So it's not just ads for home tutors. It is actual value that they are offering to prospective parents. They see this value, they try it out themselves, and they realize, oh, this thing actually works. The person who gave me this thing must be a professional. And so the reason why this person gave me this thing is because they probably even have much more useful, better knowledge, better content. I should probably subscribe, right? And as you are noticing from each step, you are seeing that it keeps on reiterating the value, keeps on pulling in people who are most interested, right? And then we are talking about the next step would then be the search engine optimization. You need to be free. not just on search engine, because I know there are some of us here on this call who have websites. That's where search engine optimization comes in. But there are some of us who do not have websites, who simply just have our social media platform. That too can be optimized for visibility. If you are selling, in this case for BC, if you are selling diabetes-friendly meals, you want to be visible to someone who is searching for diabetes-friendly food. Are you showing up? Are you easily seen? These are the steps within your flywheel that you must touch base on and review. So for instance, on your website, if I do not imagine that you have a website that has not fully been registered on Google Business platform, Google Business platform will quite literally give you steps that you can follow to optimize your page. And if it is social media platforms that you are using, you want your page to align with every step on this flywheel in such a way that content is most relevant, it speaks to the audience, it is easily seen, builds traffic, extrapolates leads, helps you to nurture said leads, and helps you to build a relationship with said leads, right? And then we can move on to the next step, which is traffic. So we've talked about being visible, being easy to be found. When you are easy to be found, obviously you have opened the gate for people to come down that funnel, down this flywheel, and come and meet your business. Now, you will be seeing a mix of organic and paid. Organic being, these are people who have seen your business, they've seen they are either people that know you personally, they have built some form of relationship with your brand. You did not use any ad to capture these people. They actually saw your content and they decided to follow you because they felt they have this value. You have this value that they need. And then there is the paid. The paid are the people who your ads was what helped you to put your content in front of them, was what helped you to get that extra bit of visibility, right? So remember what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about optimization to be found. When you are found, it might be just based off of your content, but at this point, it could also be based off of paying for that content to be in front of the right set of people, right? Paying for that content to be retargeted to face this set of people again. So for instance, we have someone who was searching for diabetes-friendly food, or they were searching for content along the lines of helping their kids get better in maths, or they were not even searching at all. They were quite literally just doom scrolling, going down their social media feed, and then they saw the right copy, the right kind of content that caught their attention, that locked them down in that position, and they thought to themselves, they saw something that said, is your kid having troubles keeping up with everyone? You are a niece, you are an uncle, sorry, you are an aunt, you are a mother, or you are a father, you are a marketer who is trying to capture these people's attention. You see that copy, it holds your attention long enough for the rest of the copy to sink in. This content has been optimized to be seen. This content has been optimized to be in front of you. That's search optimization that we are talking about. And once you lock that in, once you create that funnel, it's easier for people to go right down that funnel, right down that flywheel. So you want to be ready for that traffic. You want to be able to streamline that traffic, to extrapolate who is organic and who is paid, and then speak to them in such a way that you can now start to pull out your leads. The people who found you, the people who saw your content and still went down that protocol, they went through that funnel and are interested in what you have to sell. These are your leads. These are people that are not just visitors. You have captured them. And a lovely example, a good example that is relatable right now are those of you here on this webinar. Right from the top, AskWords.ng had quite literally gone down this flywheel. They had leveraged this inbound marketing protocol and pulled you in. You were the audience. It was content that captured your attention. They were optimized to be seen. They had leveraged both organic, the people who are already following AskWords.ng, and then they had leveraged paid ads, either via Instagram, Google Ads, or WhatsApp, right? And as you are coming in post these engagements, you will be extrapolated and leads will be identified side by side with actual people who are still considering the services that AskWords.ng has to offer. So you can see that this inbound flywheel actually works. This is how inbound works, right? And seeing as you are experiencing its experiential marketing, seeing as you are experiencing it, you are more likely to believe what we are trying to tell you, right? And then post the engagement here, you'll be seeing something along the lines of emails that would follow up the engagements. These emails would be in terms of catching up with you, trying to see how you are doing, speaking to your specific needs. That is where nurturing comes in. Nurturing is where many small and medium enterprises fall flat. Their email drips become less, or they are even non-existent. Their retargeting ads is non-existent. There is nobody that is following up or trying to. Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
I can hear
sorry
you.
to interrupt you. Somebody is asking a question.
Of course.
They said, what makes AEC model more effective than the traditional inbound funnel?
Awesome. That is a solid question. Thank you for that. What AEC does, apart from the traditional inbound marketing, AED, is no matter how much delighting that you want to delight your prospective, no matter how much content you want to create to make your target audience happy, right? As long as you are not being intentional about converting them, they would only consume your content and move on. There is a lovely blog article that you had pushed out. It engages them. They were attracted, they were engaged. There is no line for conversion. There is no next step. You have their attention. They would quite literally do anything that you need them to do, but you don't direct them to do something. You've lost them. They will consume your article and move on. You create social media content in terms of reels, TikToks, carousels, quizzes. They consume this, they engage it. There is no call to action that leads back to your business. They will move on. This is one of the fundamental problems, the fundamental gaps, let's put it like that traditional inbound marketing, attraction, engagement, and delight. This is where it misses the mark. And that is the reason why many of us are here. And hopefully post this engagement, we'll be able to plug those gaps. And again, thankfully, or should I say thank you for AskWords.ng that has identified this and figured that we should talk about this, created this space for us to be able to sit down and actually engage and share our respective knowledge, insights in this space. So now let's bring it back here. Inbound marketing and how it works. Like I pointed out, this is not an imaginary flywheel. This is a flywheel that actually works. Case in point, many of you who are here in this webinar and are currently going through this flywheel. As of now, many of you are consuming content. That is what we're sharing right now, right? And post the engagement, we will eventually begin to nurture engagements with you. The reason why I'm pointing this out is so that you see that it actually works. This 7-step growth flywheel actually works. The nurturing that many small and medium enterprises fall flat on is where you would begin to is that should I say that line that separates the winners from the bystanders. Imagine you are a minimum wage earner, or should I say you are an entry role professional, so you are earning average of 200k. Not many entry role professionals are earning that amount, but let's just say for the sake of this example, you are earning a minimum of 200,000 naira, right? You are doom scrolling on your, or you're just scrolling, consuming content on your For You page, or just your Instagram reels or your TikTok feed. You are scrolling, right? And you happen to come across a picture is eye-catching of quality shoes, and you think to yourself, these are lovely shoes. And then you think to yourself, I have been using my office shoes for quite some time now, I should change them. And then you see at the bottom of this content that is there, quality copy that catches your attention, the visuals are beautiful, and then you see the caption and it puts the price there, 100K. You are earning 200, the shoes are 100,000 naira. You think to yourself, and this is the middle of the month, mind you, you think to yourself, okay, maybe I can settle one or two here and there, and I can find a way to gather this money and then add from my salary and buy these shoes. That's a lovely idea. It works, right? Why many small and medium enterprises fall flat here is because you see, at that point where that content was seen, at that point where that content was reviewed, yes, they had met their target audience, or they just happened to stumble upon their target audience. The content captured their attention. They were visible in terms of search, and they had built that, they had beginning to build that line for the traffic. It had met their lead, but they had stopped nurturing, because after that first time I have seen that content and I swipe, there is a low likelihood that I will see that content again. This is where retargeting ads comes in. You do your normal set of ads. The ads brings back data to you, and that data tells you, oh, we are pushed to so number of viewers that are actually your followers. However, these are the number of viewers that are not your followers. This is where you start optimizing to nurture. You want to retarget and focus on those people that are not already your followers to ensure that you get them to be not just your followers, but that initial ad for the shoes, you are retargeting it at that unique time when you know their salary is dropping. This is where optimization in my AEC model comes in. You are creating content that attracts, it engages, it has a call to action to convert, and you are optimizing that initial set of ads to recapture this, your initial audience, and then get them to convert at the right time. That is what AEC does. It allows you to be able to step away from traditional inbound and then optimize for conversion, right? And then as another step in the nurturing, creating that email, retargeting, is to also build that relationship. This is the 7th step in the flywheel. To build that relationship, when it is done right, your customers don't just buy, they begin to refer. So BC, for instance, with our referral program, where she creates this referral program, buy one, get one free. That's a referral program. Instead of just the classic buy one, get one free, you are saying something along the lines of buy one, right? Sign up, have your name on our record, and then refer with this specific name. We generate your own name. Maybe you are Tunde or you are Chinonso. You sign up, Chinonso signs up, then it is Chinonso 11. By the time you are using that referral code, or your friend uses that referral code, they get less in terms of the money that they would have originally paid. Maybe they get 50% off. And then you, at the instance where you, Chinonso, you are coming to buy again, you get 20% off again. By this time, you are building that relationship, but at the same time, your flywheel is constantly feeding and pulling in more people from step 1 to step 7. This is why the flywheel is important. This is how inbound marketing should work. Some people get it, some people miss the mark, some people don't have all 7, some people have maybe 5. Some people have all 7, but they are not disciplined. Remember what we started this conversation about. It's about having that knowledge and then having the discipline to apply that knowledge. That's what separates you from the rest, right? And hopefully throughout this engagement, as we are sharing this knowledge, you would also get the chance to be able to build that discipline to apply that knowledge. So now, for this loop.
Okay, so before you move on, thank you so much, because really getting into the meat of it. Somebody is asking here that you mentioned that Delight has been changed to Convert. But can you help with the things that changed from the way people wrote their content then versus now, or like what's changed in their storytelling approach then versus now?
Awesome. Let me give you an interesting example. At the advent of short form content, where people are shifting. There are still people that are old heads, and there are still people that still consume written content. But at the advent of short form content and every variant platform that offers access to said short form content, you would notice that small and medium enterprises don't have the logistic power, sheer brute force to be able to access and meet their customers wherever they are. At that point in time, that's where they begin to leverage things like inbound marketing. However, as the times evolve, people are beginning to evolve with that inbound marketing protocol. You want to start to refine your approach to how you are building that inbound marketing. That is where Delight has shifted and been replaced with Convert. Bigger institutions are beginning to behave like smaller institutions who were leveraging content to help them convert. Because for those of us who are seasoned experts here, we all know content is the currency for conversion, right? However, there are other instances where smaller institutions who were already, they've owned that space of using content to convert, and they are seeing that bigger institutions, they still have that financial capacity, they still have that logistics brute force. Now they are even taking what these smaller businesses have, content to create inbound marketing. So now you have to double down and be better. That is where you are shifting from simply making your people happy to getting them to convert. You do not have that luxury to simply creating content that makes them happy. So what shifts? It is this paradigm shift that has gotten you to move, gotten people to begin to consider other ways to improve on the inbound protocol. And that is what that's what motivated me to create the AEC model. That's what made me to realize or see this trend and realize that if you don't naturally infuse call to actions, strong intentional call to actions to get people to convert, you would lose out on all the money that you have prospectively generated, right? And this brings us back to this current slide that we are on, how inbound marketing works. Now, we can talk about all 7 steps and talk about intentionality to execute all 7 steps, right? But what it holds up this inbound marketing is no more than 3 strong, or should I say strategic pillars. With all of this, we want storytelling that is operationally aligned and remains scalable. It is storytelling, operational alignment, and scalability that holds up this flywheel and keeps it running. It is these 3 pillars that ensures that step 1 connects to step 7 without any break in between, right? So now let's dive into before I dive into the next slide, I hope I've been able to answer the question properly. Aminat.
You have.
Awesome. So now let's talk about the pillar 1 of the 3 pillars that I was talking about. Storytelling. Now, we don't just want to tell stories, we want to tell stories that convert. If you sell products, if you are working with a business that helps market products or services, you are not in the business of selling products, you are in the business of telling stories. The sooner you can understand this, the faster you'll be able to hack growth marketing, and the better you'll be able to be aligned with the new trends in terms of getting our viewers now more than ever to convert and give you money in exchange for the value you are offering, right? And that is what Coca-Cola does. That is what Milo does. That is what Cadbury does. And that's what many of the big boys are doing. So now let me bring you back. Let me put you here now. Let's talk about their specific taglines. Coke's open happiness. Cadbury's tastes like this feels. Milo's the food drink of future champion. And then there is your tagline. These taglines serve as their brand positioning, their brand messaging, their brand identity. And this also across board influences everything else that they do. It touches base on everything all throughout the flywheel that I talked about, from step 1 to step 7. Every step, from hearing about Coke all the way to buying Coke conversion, must continue to speak to that feeling of opening happiness. Every step, from step 1 of identifying the audience all the way to building that relationship with the audience in the flywheel, must speak to Cadbury's taste how this feels. So from the ad that you are seeing, luxurious purple, to actually holding that Cadbury paper in your hand, the wrapper that covers the chocolate, the way it feels in your hand, it is speaking to a feeling of softness, of fullness, of creaminess. It's the same thing for Milo. It has a shiny nylon. It catches your attention. You have pictures of the kids in front doing activities. It's giving that feeling of champion, winning, right? And you think to yourself, if I drink this, I can win too. That's where marketing steps into. It amplifies this tagline. It amplifies this brand position. It amplifies this brand message. So is your tagline, is your brand messaging, is your brand identity, is your brand hook, is it a hook or is it a business obituary? You want to be able to create value. You want to be able to create content that is valuable. You want to be able to understand, you want to be able to identify your audience. You want to be able to understand your audience pain points. You want to align with that audience pain point. So let's bring this home. Remember the two brands that I talked about, the product and the service offers. So for the product, we have BC, who sells yam flour. So BC doesn't sell yam flour because she has identified a brand position. She has identified a brand position. She has refined how she wants to be seen. She has strategically positioned herself and creating that emotional hook. She is selling heritage. She is selling health. She is selling convenience in one sachet. That's a strategic positioning. That is an emotional hook. She's not selling yam flour to you. No. She's selling a feeling. That is what the big boys are doing, Coca-Cola and the rest. And that's what you should do too. For Tutor for NG, it's not another online tutor. It's a safe space where kids can beat that math trauma and build confidence. It's not another online class. No, it's a space where they can get better. It's a partnership. It's a room for growth. And it is this that is communicated all throughout the content. It is this that is reflected in their call to action. It is this that helps you build that relationship from the point where you have identified your audience. All the way throughout, you are optimizing to be seen, optimizing to be heard. All of this hook, the ability to be able to identify your hook, your tagline, it helps you to be able to create stories that convert. That is what you must do. You must frame your offer as a transformation, right? Not just an offer. Now, how do you do this? You think to yourself, how do I align with my audience? How do I begin? It's really simple. Now, let's give, for example, some of us here, I can see some of us here are marketers for HR solutions. So we have a good example here. In the beginning, when the product was decided to be built, some of us here are familiar with product marketing. Some of us here are familiar with our tech bros and techs that are here. And when you were building that product requirements document, there is a business analyst protocol called the 5 why drills, which basically is you ask 5 whys, or you ask why 5 times to identify the real pain. So let's say for an HR solution, you sit down in front of an HR person or even a business owner who has more than 15 to 20 or even more than that in terms of employees. You sit down and you ask them, and they come and meet you and they say, oh, I need an HR solution. You ask the first why. Why do you need an HR solution? And they think hard and they tell you, oh, to manage tasks. Why? And then they tell you, oh, because the team keeps on missing deadlines. And then you ask again, why? And they say, because I spend too much time running daily stand-ups always constantly trying to follow up, trying to understand which document has been signed by whom and who has submitted their leave, and they just list and they upload to you. Right there and then, you have figured out that emotional angle that you can use to market your products. With this, you have created the kind of content, you have figured out the kind of content that you are going to be creating. With this 5-way drill, you have figured drill, you can be able to identify your target audience, understand their pain points, optimize to be seen, be able to tell stories that actually convert. You have found their real pain. Your content is no longer fluff. It is tailored to their specific needs. Right? So now, you think to yourself, okay, this is all well and good. You've given us the 5-why drill. We can go back. We can figure this out. We can ask this question. And then what next? This is what next. Posting. It's a tactical, strategic approach to inbound marketing. And you can do that now. Let's take, for instance, you are publishing content weekly. In fact, maybe you're even publishing content daily. No one is reading, or your readings, or the people who are engaging your content in terms of even content, visual content, carousels that you're posting on social media, it is abysmal. You are seeing average of 12 to 10 likes, as opposed to you have built a following of 1,000, 2,000 likes. It is not aligning. You are not getting your audience that has decided to follow you. They are not engaged. You've attracted them all well and good, but they're not engaged. So what hope do you have to get them to convert? You are publishing weekly on your blog. You are constantly posting on your page. That's all well and good. But there's no tactic, no strategy to that. That is where guest posting steps in. Many people will tell you right off the bat that, oh, this is how you should do it. In fact, I'm here right now telling you this is how you do it. But realistically, nobody truly understands the algorithm. Social media algorithm is hard to understand. Every time they are bringing up new protocols, new approach, and with the advent of AI, it will continue to evolve at a rapid speed that as a human being, you cannot keep up. Statistically, Google ignores 90% of what you publish. Instead, you have to follow specific protocols to be able to be optimized, to be able to rank. And sometimes you see content that rank that is irrelevant to what you are looking for. This is where you become tactical. The first step that you want to do is stop publishing. But before we even talk about the tacticality, you want to figure out what the problem is. Oh, I'm getting less views, right? And they talked about telling stories that convert. If I'm telling stories, I'm posting every day, I'm showing up every day, I've attracted so number of followers, but they're not even engaging my content, much less getting to the point where I'll tell them that, oh, it's time for you to convert.
Hi, Kule, I'm here again.
Hi.
So someone is asking, what's the biggest mistake small businesses make with content?
Oh, that is a simple thing. First thing that you make, or should I say, one of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to creating content is, remember what we talked about a few slides ago. I talked about ensuring that you have that applied knowledge and the discipline to apply said knowledge. The mistake that they make is they miss the steps on the flywheel that I just spoke about. You are creating content that is not aligned with your user. Imagine me, for instance, a single marketing professional, and I engaged in passing with a bit of content because, oh, it was funny. Next thing I am seeing is retargeting ads that is bringing that content back to my front, and that content happens to be content related to Pampers. Or I'm receiving email newsletters from a brand that is talking about breastfeeding and how to improve your hormonal balance. They've missed the mark. Not only is it that I am not even of that gender, right? I am not married yet. I am not in any way closely affiliated yet. And you are bringing that content to me. You've missed the mark. Small businesses are then pandering en masse to everybody instead of niching down to their specific target audience. So they've missed step one in the flywheel. I should probably even take it back there so that we can all see what I'm referring to. They've missed step one in the flywheel. You're talking about your audience and their specific needs. But if you are creating content generally, you are not speaking to this audience and their specific needs. By the time you've skipped that step and you are on content, because you are not speaking to your specific audience, you are speaking to everybody else. You are putting in a lot of marketing effort and you are getting very little to no return. So what hope do you have optimizing for visibility, much less traffic, or even generating leads that are qualified, nurturing them, and even building a relationship? Because you've missed that first step, you've missed all the other steps, right? And these are one of the critical, detrimental things that small, medium enterprises make when it comes to creating their content. And that's the reason why we are here. So we have to figure out and understand that, oh, these are the steps we have to take. I'm supposed to build that discipline to execute. It is beginning to feel like it's a lot, of which we're also going to address that. So now let's go back to the slides that we were on. I hope I've been able to answer that question properly. So now we are on guest posting. You have come to realize we are posting a lot, we are getting next to no visibility. To realize from our conversation thus far that nobody truly understands the algorithm. Every day, as a marketer, I am sure many of you relate to this. You keep on dropping story after story to your direct line managers. Oh, we've just figured out. No, you have not. No, you have not. There is nobody that truly can keep up with the algorithm. So the first thing you want to figure out is, what am I supposed to do? Tactical fix. First step, stop everything that you are doing. If you are doing something while simultaneously trying to fix that said something, you are just wasting effort and adding up to the backlog of the things that you have to fix. So first and foremost, you want to stop publishing on your site. The next step is to run through these flow charts that you are seeing on your screen. Domain authority. Is my domain authority less than 30? If it is a yes, it's time for you to start guest posting. Guest posting isn't just going around to post on another person's blog, begging them that, oh, can I post on your blog for visibility? Trying to get one of the big boys. Say, for instance, you are in the wedding industry, you're trying to get Bella Naija to allow you to guest post. No, it's not just that. It's collaboration. Not just collaboration, but actual meaningful collaboration. If it is a no, that your domain authority is less than 30, it means it's higher than 30, then you check, is my keyword difficulty, is it greater than 40? If it's a yes, it's time for you to guest post. If it's a no, it's time for you to review your sites and the backlinks and optimize for indexing. So now let's break every step here down properly. Domain authority isn't just about websites. Domain authority is about brands. Let's take, for instance, Aproko Doctor. Aproko Doctor has domain authority within the space of health and wellness, right? But so does gym enthusiasts who are slowly building their own micro and macro community. They also have domain authority, right? So now, you as a person or you as a brand, do people see you in the light of big boys like Aproko Doctor, or small boys who are also building their own brand and their own domain authority? Do people see you as a trusted person? Do people think, I am looking for shoes, let me quickly check this person's page and see how I can buy good shoes? That is domain authority. If you are that person that comes to mind, that people want to come and check what you are talking about, they want to come and see what you have to offer, they want to come and see the content that you are delivering, then you are slowly building domain authority, right? And there are platforms, your social media handle, for instance, your social media platforms, for instance, they give you access to this data that can help you realize if you have domain authority. How many people are visiting you every week? If they are visiting you every week, it means clearly you have content that is relevant to them. You are building domain authority, right? But if you notice that it is less than, you have 1,000 followers, you have less than 20 of those followers visiting or checking out your content, right? You have a reach of measly 49 people. You need to increase your reach. You need to increase that visibility, right? That's where guest posting comes in. That's where collaboration comes in. That's where you want to leverage other people's platform who have high domain authority, or they have a building or budding domain authority, and then draw from them. Now, for the writers that are out there, I know many of you are familiar with the difficulty of getting people to allow you to guest post, right? But it's not so hard. On the screen right now, you can see an exact search protocol that you can put into the search engine, any search engine. What this does is it will pull out every brand out there, both big brands who have high domain authority and lesser brands who have lower domain authority, which will be ranked by Google itself. The ones with the highest domain authority will be at the top of the list. And then you can follow their instructions. This, what it does is it brings out those brands who are willing to collaborate. They don't require you to drop any funds. They don't require you to skip through any hoops. All you just have to do is follow the instructions there, fill in the information, and then guest blog for them. You send in your articles, and then they will post it. So imagine BC, for instance, who had a blog, and she was getting an average of 10 views. Then she follows this protocol, signs up with many of these businesses, maybe even fills out everybody on the first Google page, and then guest posts an article on all of them's page. The minute that guest post goes live, she's getting an average of 2,000 views from multiple platforms, and all without spending a penny. She didn't have to jump through hoops. She didn't have to promise to be posting their own page, their own content every time. All she just did was she came in, BC, whoever her surname is, BC from BC Foods, and she writes an article. People see that article, they love that article. They think to themselves, who wrote this article? They check the author out. When they check the author out, they see that the author is the co-founder or the owner of this brand. And then they go and check, wow, if she's writing about healthy foods within her own industry, then that means she must know what she's doing. Let's see if what she's cooking or what she has to sell in terms of food aligns. They go there, they see the content, it aligns, and they are willing to buy. That's how you are generating visibility and leads outside of your paid leads, your paid ads, right? And at the same time, you are growing. You are increasing your number of followers. You are increasing your number of views, all without breaking or bending the back. All of this still speaks to telling stories that convert, because she has now successfully told the story in leveraging this protocol, and then these people have then followed that line, and then they've come into our own page, which has improved our search visibility, mind you, and then they've gone through our content, and they see that that content aligns with what they are looking for, what their needs, that aligns with their needs. You have now specifically put intentional conversion lines. Maybe you've put buy now, comment fufu, and we'll send you our extra recipes. All of this is intentionality to get them to buy. The same goes for people who create content, right? Because I've been talking about people who are writing. The same goes for people who create content. Collaborate with established and rookie creators. Yes, not just the big brands. You also want to collaborate with the smaller brands, because you don't know who you're collaborating with, and the ideas you people are sparking that might create that viral moment. That viral moment that will get people to come and check your page. And as they check your page, they also see all of the content that you have to offer. And then they come to think to themselves, where has this person been? This person can solve most, if not all, of my pain points, right? Social media platforms and their algorithm are difficult to keep.
So let me distract you a bit. So somebody says, he speaks so elegantly. And that person said, I can't even focus on the speech because his voice is melting me. You think we should focus
What are they,
on
good?
what we're here to do, please.
Good.
I don't know. There was a new question waiting. I was like, wait. Oh, which one is this one?
Wild.
Well, that one too is part of it. I mean,
Abby is part of it. Exactly. Right. So now when we're talking about
Carry on.
eloquent speaking and drawing attention, all of these still aligns with the first pillar that I'm talking about, telling a story in such a way that it helps you to convert. Right? When you build that domain authority, like I was talking about, you understand your space, you understand what you're talking about. That confidence instinctively attracts people. That confidence instinctively makes them want to listen. That confidence is something that should not be hidden. So you should optimize to be easily found. You should optimize to have that content out there, right? And in the back of your mind, I know many of you are thinking about it. How would I be able to do all of this? That's why you are here. You are here not just to learn, you are here in the hands of seasoned professionals. All of us here at askwords.ng are seasoned professionals that can help you scale this. But we're going to get right into that much later. Let's go on. So now, social media platforms and their algorithms are difficult to keep up with. So you are supposed to prioritize the basics, collaborate, and ensure quality. Because as long as you can build domain authority, you will always trump effort. I think there is a popular saying out there that says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. As long as you've built a behavior, you've built a protocol, a system, right? And that system is built off of that domain authority, either in the industry that you are playing in or even as your platforms in and of themselves. As long as you've built that, no matter how much effort anybody else puts in, that domain authority will continue to trump it, right? Go where your audience is, right? Where they are already hanging out, and then borrow traffic from there. Build backlinks, build trust, collaborate. Anyway, so that's that about the first pillar that holds up the 7-step growth flywheel. The second pillar is operational alignment. So now let's talk about operational alignment. Every content that we've talked about, everything that we've talked about, is all well and good. Let's say you follow all the steps. There is a part in our flywheel that I have talked about that said traffic. This is where operational alignment begins to really shine. Something about most marketers is they overlook alignment of their content with operations. Either be it the capacity to be able to take in the traffic, the amount of people, maybe you hit that viral moment. What do you use that viral moment and do? Either that, or you are creating content and positioning yourself as someone that is not. You are positioning yourself as big as Coke, but you don't have that capacity to be able to handle the logistics to deliver on the value that you are promising. All of this is about operational alignment. Inbound marketing isn't just about content. It is about creating materials that reduce the friction for your business. For instance, BC, for instance, she takes, or should I say she writes, she creates content and she puts it on her blog. In her blog, she puts in a call to action, which basically directs people to get them to buy. So they finish reading an article about delicious meal that you can make in under 45 minutes, right? Leveraging instant poundo yam flour. So not only has she soft sold what she has, she's also giving you value. You decide to create or make this recipe, or you are reading it and in your mind, good content that you are practically picturing yourself making that swallow with the effort or any other soup of preference for the sake of the example. You finish reading this in your mind, you are thinking, now I'm hungry. Now I want to make this, right? But there is no call to action on BC's blog. That person will move on and go somewhere else. At that instance, as she has finished writing everything that she has written, she puts that call to action at that unique point where she believes at this point, this person should be salivating. And they immediately click. They are thinking to themselves, maybe I should actually make this poundo yam. And right there and then is the link that is quite literally saying buy now. That's alignment. You have aligned your content with your operational activities. Right? You have created that avenue for the people that you have begun to nurture. Remember the flywheel that we talked about earlier? You have created that avenue for the people that you've begun to nurture, and you are guiding them down the line. And now, instead of it just being a funnel, they will go down, the relationship is built, and they will come back for more. And that's where it shifts from being a simple funnel all the way to a flywheel. So now she writes blog articles, 3 diabetes-friendly swallows. The post doesn't end with read more. It links to a buy now page. Our content is constantly tied to revenue instead of just vanity metrics. Visual content, you are if it is the kind of content where it is on Instagram or TikTok, and she is sitting down in front of the screen and she's talking. By the time she has ended that plenty talk, the video of the swallow being made is not hard. You can end it with something that basically says, comment buy now or comment swallow, and I will send you the full recipe into your page. You are nurturing, you are building that relationship, that access into their DMs, because now they are thinking, I want this recipe or all other recipes that she has. And the minute they comment and their DMs are open, you start building that relationship. You can begin to automate, which leads us to our third pillar that I will soon talk about. The same thing goes for Twitter.
So before you go to the third pillar, there's an actual question now, not people crushing on your voice. So this person is asking, what's a quick win for converting content into revenue?
Quick wins. Love it. So now, quick wins is relative, right? Quick wins is what has pushed many classical marketers to embrace traditional inbound marketing and not consider this new approach. Quick wins is vanity metrics. However, there are other quick wins that matter, the kind of wins that are tied to operational needs. Case in point, this pillar that we're currently on. A quick win can be you are creating content that immediately goes viral. A quick win can also be you are creating content that helps you to monetize your platform. So now imagine this is a brand that I've grown to love. Brooklyn Coffee Shop. Right? They're based in New York. Their social media team, the content marketing team on the back end, even the videographer, just everybody that comes together to bring that page to life are incredible people. Brooklyn Coffee Shop is a coffee shop. They leverage one of the newer trends that was towards the ending of last year / this year, social shows, creating mini episodes for their viewers to grow a relationship with, create a connection to the characters. And these mini episodes got them growing fast. Their call to action was always inside the script. Someone steps into the coffee shop and they want to buy coffee. There is never a video, a short clip that the person doesn't verbally say the word, okay, I'd like to buy coffee. That's one. In that same content, there is also always an influencer or a celebrity, because as they quickly started to scale, they started with micro influencers, then macro influencers, and then celebrities who want to also partner with them and show up for one of the contents. The content is hilarious. There's maximum amount of visibility, and as time went on, they started to grow very quickly. Now imagine on TikTok where they are monetized, and I'm not 100% sure if they're monetized on Instagram. Imagine the amount of money they're generating. So not only are they selling coffee and generating funds, you as a marketer on that team, you've helped the company to influence bottom line because you have created another avenue for a quick win. Every content that goes live is a chance for more people to come and see the page, more people to engage on the Instagram and TikTok platform, and for you to generate actual US dollars. Those are quick wins. But again, like I said, it's relative. First, you need to build to get there. But there are also quick wins that don't require you to build. Virality moments, right? So I hope I've been able to answer that question as detailedly as possible.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So now we have, like I said, operationally aligned content. That's pillar 2, and we're about to shift into pillar 3, which is about scalability, right? So just to close out on this pillar, your content must serve sales. That's how you begin to align with operations. Your content must serve the right fit of people. It must serve the users, right? And it must save time. It shouldn't just be engagement and getting people to laugh and then you move on. It must solve whatever problem it is solving in the background. It must also solve the time problem. So the more time you are helping them to save, the more time they are more likely to use on your product, to spend on your product, right? Every post, every quiz, every video should push the business level. It shouldn't simply just entertain, right? The content must not be fluff. It must continue to feed growth. Now, we've talked about storytelling that converts. We've talked about ways to quickly build domain authority, basically quickly build visibility, right? One of the major and important steps in the flywheel that we talked about. So now, how do we now begin to handle the influx of people? How do we prepare ourselves for the future in handling the influx of people? That's where we begin to build scalable systems. Scalable systems. So now this is the sexy part. And the reason why I say this is the sexy part is because as long as you've touched base on step 1 all the way to 7, which links back to step 1 again, as long as you've locked down pillar 1 that would uphold the flywheel and pillar 2 that would also continue to uphold the flywheel, this is where things now get sweet. Because by this time, you've already decided to build some form of visibility, some form of traction. You now want to begin to scale your activities. Inbound marketing is powerful, but without automation, you will drown in tasks. You can see on the screen there, I said, let AI do the heavy lifting. Many marketers, the minute ChatGPT dropped, specifically content marketers / writers, were worried. They were worried, except the seasoned professionals who had already built a relationship, right? Who had already built a brand around who they are. There is nothing to be worried about. AI isn't here to steal your job, it's to improve it. And if you are at the point where AI can quite literally steal your job, then you need to upskill. You need to get better. So look at BC's business again. She records one cooking demo, but from that cooking demo, she optimizes it in such a way that she can chop it up for 30 short form clips. So if she's talking about one cooking demo, she can do part 1 to 4 about how she made the most interesting, the most delicious 7-course meal. That's one video, right? Or one blog post that talks about how to make delicious soup. And then that's how to make delicious soup. She turns that blog post into a video script, films the script, chops up that script into 20, 30 bits of content that can be reusable in different scenarios. So there can be a video that can just be filming all of the food that she wants to cook, aesthetic pleased background. All of this is in the same main video that she has posted either on YouTube or on Instagram. But she can later post it a month later and just say, when you eat with your eyes before you eat with your tummy, or you eat with your mouth, right? That same content is from months ago, but she had already captured it and she can use it now. That is what it means to create content and scale it. And you can leverage AI tools like Opus Clip and many other newer ones that are out there, right? To create multiple bits of content from one approach. In fact, you are most likely going to experience this same thing that I'm talking about from AskWords.ng, where this engagement is going to be is going to be chopped up and spread across all platforms in such a way that we are leveraging our own scalable systems. Now, speaking about doing this internally, we can do this for you too. AskWords.ng can do the same thing for you to help you move your business from 0 to 100, leveraging all that we have talked about and their experience in the space of scalable systems. Right? Now let's talk about tutor.ng too. Now for tutor.ng, we are also, we used to write their reporting system. It used to be manual, right? And they would have to, it took about 15 to 20 hours to draft 3 to 4 kids content. And it's very, 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 very time consuming. At this point in time, they have leveraged AI tools like Google Form, ChatGPT, email automation, and AI agents that basically move the content from point A to point B. And they can auto-generate personalized updates on the progress of these kids. That is what scalable system does. Scalable system is something that you might have experienced. Remember earlier on the slide before now where I was saying you can, for BC, she started saying comment swallow. It wasn't BC that was responding to every single person who commented swallow. It was an AI tool, an automation tool that automated responses based off of prompts. So if you dropped swallow on BC's page, it automatically sends the recipes or whatever directly into your DMs. Then BC could pick up that conversation by herself and begin to nurture and build a relationship with these people. That is what scalability means. Because if you build all of that momentum and you're not skilled to handle the traffic, you will fail. So here's the lesson. Systems don't kill creativity. They free you to be consistent. They give you that chance to be able to improve on other aspects of your business, to focus on things that also matter. And the way you can do this, for instance, is to set up templates, to use AI tools or automation tools like Zapier, to schedule your nurture flows, let AI repurpose and distribute for you. And interestingly enough, 2 out of these 4 points that I have listed, AskWords.ng can do it. Now, it'll be overwhelming. It can be a lot. But if you have people that are there to help you, it can be easier. So personally, I tell people, if you can pay for ease, pay for ease. There's a difference between someone who is always busy and they don't have time to wash their clothes, so they drop it off at the laundry, and someone who has time to wash it and they wash their clothes by themselves. In both cases, they had the capacity. And if you are seeing that you are lacking in said capacity or you are struggling with that capacity, the smart thing to do is to hand it off to someone who can give you both quality or actual affordability, right? So let's talk about the next slide. This is me talking directly to everybody here. Some of us here are marketers, many of us here are business owners. So now let me speak directly to the marketers. Everything that I have said here, everything that I have talked about is all well and good, right? But if you don't build that stakeholder alignment around inbound marketing, you will miss the mark. You would have put in effort and you would lose both your initial idea, right? But you would also lose your, quite literally, you could lose your job, right? So we want to ensure that we have stakeholder alignment. No matter how many they are, no matter how complex your idea is, break it down into granular protocols and get your stakeholders, that is either your line manager or your line manager's line manager, get them to sign off on it. The next thing that you want to do is to ensure that you prove that there is a return on their investments. So if you are working with an organization as a marketer, you always want to show granular metrics. If we went for so events, got a physical booth and presented or exhibited there, then we must have leads that are actually qualified. This is how you show return on investment. Because as long as you show return on investment, your stakeholder would not throw you under the bus. They would not toss you aside. they are more likely to even answer your requests in the future. And then finally, use AI to automate your workflows and reporting. You do not, I assure you, you do not want to get overwhelmed at the point of critical execution. And for our business owners that are here, business leaders, just leaders generally, I want you to think of marketing as a business growth function. With marketing, you grow. Without marketing, you do not grow as much as you would with marketing. It's something that should be strongly considered in setting up of your budget and just generally moving forward. Next thing I want business owners to know is I want you guys to invest in a full content funnel. So I'm not talking about just top of the funnel content. Top of the funnel content, for example, is
So someone is asking this question.
okay.
What exactly should a business, when exactly should a business start automating its processes?
Hey. So now you should begin automating your processes when you've locked down pillar 1, pillar 2, which would uphold the old 7-step flywheel. So basically, if you miss the first step in the flywheel, you would have probably missed your niche audience by a wide margin. The few prospective customers that you then have, you are not optimized to even receive them. You're not optimized to be found, much less optimized to begin to automate. How many are you receiving that you're already automating? Do it right, do it well, to the point where you can see that virality moment and it's already about to click. You need to be ready to be able to handle everybody rushing in. That is when automation steps into play. That is when that's where BC was talking about people commenting Swallow, and she can now send the receipt to every single one of them. Does that answer my question?
It does.
Awesome. So now, for the final tip for the business owners, I encourage you to encourage marketing and sales in their options. Sorry, there was a technical difficulty on my end. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So sorry about that. Sorry about the
No problem.
pause. So now, like I said, the last part of what I want to talk about for the business owners is to encourage marketing and sales integration. So now, your marketers can get super excited and they can say, oh, this idea, let's hit viral. You self also remind them that it must align with the objective of selling. It must align with our objective of visibility. It must align with core objectives, right? And you as the business owner, who you are a solo entrepreneur and you are running this by yourself, it's the exact same thing. You want to be locked in. You want to be ready, right? But at the same time, you want your marketing efforts to align or they should bear fruit. You don't want to be doing all of this and then miss the mark. And then after doing everything, you're not getting anything in return, right? Now that I have put my note of warning and I've explained how the flywheel works and the 3 important pillars and how to get those 3 important pillars to work for you, let's finally talk about the AEC framework. Now, as we've been conversing, you've come to understand and you've come to see the gaps in the AED framework. We're just delighted, but we don't move forward from there. Now, I present to you the AEC framework. It fixes the gap in traditional inbound and it makes execution ready and it makes you or your brand execution ready for business. Okay? We have we have 3 points in the AEC. We have the attract, engage, convert, and then we have the final part, which is the optimization. So from the attraction, or from the point of A, we should break it down. Attraction, we're basically talking about visibility. Remember what I talked about in the flywheel. Figuring out your audience, knowing their pain points will help you to be able to know where they always hang out. When you figure out where they always hang out, you'll be able to really tap into the SEO, optimizing for visibility. It's the same thing here. Attraction. You can be doing all that you do and not attract anybody. So in the AEC, you want to be able to. In the AEC, you want to be able to. My apologies, guys. In the AEC, you want to be able to lock down attraction, capture the attention of people, and have them interested in what you have to offer. And then for let me see. Oh yes, okay. And then for engagements, you want to be able to create that connection with your prospective people. The people you initially captured in terms of attraction, that's AED, in the first part, where you are getting their attention, you got them locked in, you got them interested, and then they've started to engage with your content. You also want to create that connection. Remember, in our flywheel, step 7 is relationship building. That's where email sequences comes in. That's where lead quizzes comes in. That's where event invite comes in. And that's basically what you have experienced. All throughout these engagements here now, you people have asked questions during an event that you were invited for. You have responded and are currently responding to the polls that have been posted on this webinar, right? That is building a connection. So you have been attracted, you are currently being engaged, and eventually, hopefully, you will convert. So now conversion is basically outcome. So what are our outcomes? Did our call to matter? Call to matter? Apologies. Did our call to action, did they matter? Did they get people to click more? When we switched out buy now for book a call, was it better? When we switched out get a sample for buy now, how was it? By using all these shop links or all this, by using all this call to action, we can be able to optimize. To ensure system scalability, we need to be able to optimize while aligning with growth. We have tested and analyzed the data, and then by testing and analyzing the data, we are currently optimizing for scalability. Right? So we are using AI retargeting, or you are just you are using AI and retargeting, or you are just basically becoming more intuitive with the content that you are putting out there. Right? So optimization specifically in this AEC isn't just for tech, it's a mindset. You have to constantly refine all of your activities that you are doing for the frameworks deep dive, right? And so now you think to yourself, with everything that I have talked about now, with all that we've talked about, we've gone through about 12 slides, about 1 hour, 24 minutes of presentation. Is it not a lot? Yes, it is. And once again, allow me to bring my market to your front. I strongly suggest to you that you outsource what you can outsource. Outsource what you can outsource to seasoned professional hands that will be able to move you from point 0 to point 100. These people will be able to ease your activities. That's basically what Ask Words.ng does. And we're not just saying it, we're proving it to you. Case in point, you here with us now. Anyway, so now, again, we in our presentation and in our inbound ads, we told you that we're going to show you the things that are wrong. We told you that we're going to show you the better way. And then we're also going to help you to be able to execute now. So let's move on to my 1, 2, 3 sprint and scale framework. So now, this sprint and scale framework, before you even have launch, right? Before you even launch your product, before you quote unquote blink. I'm exaggerating now anyway. You can be able to execute on everything that we've talked about right now. How do you do that? You leverage the 1, 2, 3 sprint and scale model that has been tailored to macro, small, and medium enterprises like yours. You can also leverage this for bigger organizations or bigger businesses, but not many of them even know about it. Plus, they have that logistics and financial brute force to be able to execute. So now, for smaller institutions, you need something light. That's why I created the 1, 2, 3 skill, the 1, 2, 3 sprint and skill. Point 1 is one story. Remember when I talked about your business tagline or your business obituary, your business brand messaging? That's what point 1 does. Helps you to figure out your brand messaging. And I've put the sample there to make it easier for many of us. So you can say, oh, I help, you talk about your audience, the name for your audience, to achieve, and then you talk about what you're achieving, without, and then you talk about their pain point. Okay? Then we have the next step, which is 2 strengths. So we have 2 strengths and 2 actions. So 2 strengths is you want to lean into what works. What do you enjoy crafting? What kind of content do you enjoy creating? And then the second thing is, what do your audience respond to? So these 2 strengths are things that you can do, what you're already doing and what you can do well. So now in terms of action, these are again 2 actions. You want to start simple. What are the 2 actions or the 2 things that you can do right now? No extra steps to do, just pure execution. What can you do right now for the business? And then finally, for the 2 actions, you want to talk about, that's it. What you can do right now, and the extra steps that you can, without any extra steps, and without any prep time, you just immediately start right now. And then the last point of the 1, 2, 3 sprint scale framework is the 3 pillars. So you want to define define your 3 pillars, your 3 types, and your 3 formats. So in the case of BC now, she is in the space of health, tradition, and speed. That's first. Those are the pillars. And the types, that is the types of contents that she'll be pushing out. How-tos, stories, and news. And then finally, the third 3 formats. Reels, carousels, and emails. So that brings us to the end of my presentation. And at this point, we'll be moving on to our Q&A, right? And I believe a question was posted, or should I say, a question was added to our polls. I don't know if you saw it. You not?
Yeah, I saw it. I was waiting for you to finish, to round up, so that I don't interrupt you again, since we're almost done. So the question is, how do you measure the ROI of inbound marketing?
Now, you said the question was what?
How do you measure the ROI of inbound marketing?
Awesome. So now, when it comes to measuring your return on investments, there are quite a few. I should take this back here to this space so that we can all be looking at it. There are quite a few things as a marketer or even a business owner that you want to consider. There is a thin line, and I say this to everybody, every business that has ever tried to coach me to come and do sales. There's a thin line between marketing and sales. The thin line is one person is directly saying, "Thank you so much for buying," and they're dropping money. And the other person is just basically repeating, "Come and buy what we're selling." If you want to measure return on investments, first off, what was the investment? So now, from everything that I've listed here now, it is quite literally something that you can do 100% free, because I'm speaking to macro, small, medium enterprises, right? However, if you, for some interesting reason, there is a bit of funds that is being spent, for instance, your ads, your return on investments are the number of people who actually come into your DMs. Is it the instance of the amount of content that you're posting out? Your return on investment is the reach that you are gaining. But now what now separates you from everybody else is how you are leveraging access to that reach to have them in your DMs asking to buy what you are selling. Those are granular metrics. And those granular metrics, if you notice here what I talked about, building stakeholder alignment around inbound. Those granular metrics as a marketer or even as a business owner is what you would set up before you even begin any of this. There is something called OKRs and KPIs. I'm already moving into like advanced business management. There is something called OKRs and KPIs, specifically OKRs, objectives and key results. So first off, you want to identify all of your objectives. Is it visibility that we want to do now? Is it visibility and conversion? Of course, conversion is always going to be bottom line. But what are our main objectives? You figure out those main objectives and then you create key results. Those key results are what you would use and measure your return on investments. So for instance, the main objective of a brand is to build a house. Well and good. Subsidiary objectives would be the house should be livable, should be able to have running water, you should also have lights. And all of this, under each of these subsidiary objectives would be, under all of this, under the main objective, which is building the house, you would have the key results, which is it should be livable, you should have light, you should have clean water. If at every point where you meet that, oh, we have clean water now, you are one step closer to meeting the objectives. We have power now. You are another step closer to meeting the objective. Meet all of the key results, and then you have met the objectives. If you meet the objective, you have successfully proven your return on the investment. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Thank you very much. So we did a bit of, apart from the Q&A, did a poll. We ran 2 polls actually. Because of time, we're not able to run the entire 6 that we wanted to because we started quite late due to technical issues with the rain. So the first question we asked is, how familiar are you with inbound marketing? And the results that we got, the options are, I'm a complete beginner, I know the basics, I've tried a few strategies. Now, I'm a complete beginner is the most voted, that 57%. I know the basics, 28%, and then I've tried a few strategies, 14%. So what advice would you give to, these people in their different categories in just a few minutes because of time?
Okay, so right off the bat, my first train of thoughts or first set of things you want to do, because you are a beginner in inbound marketing, is you want to first glean knowledge. You want to understand specifically how much you don't know and how much you know. You want to understand your capacity end to end, right? So you are looking at funny instances or unique scenarios where we're having this conversation and this in the back of your head, you are thinking, some of these things that they are saying is far advanced than what I understand. That's all well and good. The first thing that I always tell people when it comes to facing problems is, as long as you can identify the problem, you are halfway to solving them. My advice, right off the bat, first off, is get these slides. You get these slides, you can quite literally pretend to be a professional, right? And not just a professional, but a seasoned expert. That's the first thing. Secondly, everything that you are going to be getting, because there's relevant resources that you'll be receiving from askwords.ng after this webinar. I want you to look at those resources and let them become your either Bible or Quran or any other form of guiding book. Let it be something that would help you to move forward, something that you would always reference. It is from there that you begin to identify things that you need to learn, and it's from there you begin to research and learn more. So yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering that. Let's go to the next poll. The question is, what's your biggest marketing goal right now? And so we had 4 options. The first one is getting more leads, increasing website traffic, building brand awareness, converting leads to customers. So the most voted, it's actually a tie between building brand awareness and converting leads to customers. So those are the most voted. Increasing website traffic is the least voted, while getting more leads is 40%. That's the next one. So yeah, in the same way, like advise these people, especially those who want to build brand awareness and convert leads as
Awesome.
a marketing goal.
Awesome. Awesome. So the first thing that you want to remember is the whole reason why you joined this webinar was so that you can be able to leverage inbound marketing. So you need to understand how it is done, or how it should be done now, how it can help you to shift from a normal marketer, for instance, or a normal business owner to someone who is impacting or influencing growth. From the top, this document that was presented to you is quite literally something that can guide you from step 1 all the way to step 2. I say all the way to step 2, all the way to step 7, to take you from awareness all the way to conversion. So any of those options that were listed, you want to get more leads, you want to convert more, you want to increase your brand awareness, everything that you need or everything that you want to do from this list is quite literally in this slide, and will quite literally be in the resources that you'll be getting. However, and this is the most important part, because you are small, as a small medium enterprise, whichever work that is heavy for you, I strongly suggest that you outsource it. And then if you are trying to go figure out which part is heavy for you, I also would strongly suggest that you have a strategy session with an institution that is well versed or well experienced with this, like AskWorks.ng. So that's my two,
Like
two bits of yes, exactly. So those are my 2 bits of information that I'd like to share.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kole. You have been so helpful, so insightful. Like this has been one of the most intense webinars that I have ever attended. Let's not even say hosted, because you gave like actual value, and I'm so grateful that you took the time out to do this, to give actual value. Thank you very much. So this entire presentation would be made into an ebook and will be made available for free actually to the participants of this webinar. Also, we're also going to have this entire webinar. It's going to be available on our YouTube channel, and we'll be communicating, as Adekunle has said, you'll be getting newsletters from us, because when you signed up, you gave us your permission, but we're not going to spam you. If you don't want anything from us, you can always unsubscribe. So you're going to be getting more emails from us. You're going to be getting more tips, more values, everything that you need altogether. You'll be getting it from us. And like he has said, wherever you're stuck, wherever you need help, we are here. That's the work that we do. Exactly. Don't let me say it the way we say it. That's the work that we collected. Exactly. So yes, that's the work that we do. It has been an amazing session. We look forward to doing this again. We're going to be hosting webinars like this on different topics relating to content, storytelling, inbound strategies like this one, everything that revolves around basically using storytelling to build your brand, your life, your business. That's basically what we do. So thank you everyone for attending. This brings us to the end of this webinar. Thank you very much and God bless you. Do have a lovely day. Bye.
Bye.